Okay guys, so moving on to the next deck profile of today, we'll be doing a Super Warrior Hero Zeta deck with the boost from the Buddyfight Ragnarok. So basically this superhero Zeta deck, right, actually won the Japan final stage deck. However, it's a little bit different compared to his build. It's a build I've been testing for quite a while now, and it's rather smoothly and rather more consistent compared to other builds, in my opinion, because it's less FTK. However, it has better matchups across the board against Time Dragon, Swords, Gaga, and Cosmo Man. So first off, I'll be talking about the main card of the deck. It will be the body will be the old gem clone, which allows you to play other impact monsters from different worlds. First off, 4 of the superhero Zeta. Yeah, you need it to start your combo. It's the most important card. Without this card on the first turn, you probably lose the game. So moving on to the new card will be the Jungle Rebirth. So it has essentially the same skills as the old one, with the extra benefit of you being able to counter call it for 2 gauge. Another thing is that this card cannot be nullified, and it cannot be souls cannot be dropped by card effects, and it gets ability of all impact monsters in its soul. So it has a move Soul Guard. The important thing here is the 15k defense. So imagine you play 2 gauge and you put this on the field, it's 15k defense with 3 soul. So they have to clear this 4 times. So that's a lot of attacks, and a lot of attacks are blocking. So you can body block after using this guy to protect yourself for a turn, or you can grace yourself to not take effect damage, and then after this guy dies, you body block to protect yourself. So moving on to the single cards I'll be playing to combine it with the gem clone, right, would be the Guardian. So Guardian allows you to discard a card during the attack phase or the final phase once per turn to choose a card in opponent's field, remove all soul, and bomb it. So it's very strong. And another thing is that if you're transformed into this guy, the damage you take for the turn is reduced by 2. A very strong defensive card. Another thing is the Rampage Sonic. So basically, +3 crit if your opponent has no monster on the field. Restand whenever you clear a monster. Your opponent can't counter if this card if you're transformed into this card or a card if gem clone is on the field. So you can slowly start to see the various different combos you can actually do with this deck. Because this deck is probably the highest skill ceiling deck in the entire game, followed by Time Dragons. Because this deck is basically abusing the most OP mechanic in the game, which is counter calling. So you can counter when you have the flexibility to choose when you want to call your cards. You can actually see what your opponent is doing, how they want to react, and play accordingly to what they are doing. So this added flexibility gives you many different paths, many different decision points for you to make throughout the course of a game, and this will impact the result. So moving on is the Mukuro protection plus 5k defense. So imagine you combine Mukuro with the gem clone, right? It's 20k defense. Yeah. The new Bulbous Rebirth, triple attack. When this guy is attacking alone, he attacks everything, your opponent included, and your opponent can counter. Super strong. So you can imagine gem clone with Bar with the Rampage Sonic. So that's about let's say you have 3 crit, right? So it's 5 crit, triple attack, can't be countered. That's freaking insane. You got the Jackknife, Battle Riser. So enter field, put a card from your deck into its soul. So with this, you are tutoring any of the singletons that you're playing on deck, or whatever you need from your deck into the soul of your gem clone. So SP version of the Galactical Punisher, on attack, damage cannot be reduced. So your opponent can't play cards that reduce your damage from attacks. So next up, we're playing 4 Einder, your draw power, enter field, discard Super Warrior, charge to draw 2. Your Albedo Fodder in the Blazer Frill. Another effect is when she enters the field by card effects, or when you transform, you can either destroy 2 cards or bounce 2 cards in your opponent's field. Another broken card is the Gigarander. So Gigarander's effect is actually Aratard, so actually you can actually discard any Super Warrior to restand it. Yeah. So enter field, check top 5, add a Zeta or Gem Clone. So you can see you got 8 targets to add, or Gigarander, so you can add yourself as well. Another thing is that as you can see, when you're discarding Super Warrior, you can basically discard your whole hand because, as you can see, right, your spells are all Super Warrior in its name. So if you have, let's say you got 6 cards with all Super Warrior, you can just keep discarding to keep attacking. So imagine you have a Grinder inside a Gem Clone's soul, right? You can just keep discarding, withstanding, beating for insane crits because you have a Rampage Sonic or Mukuro inside soul. If you have a Bow, you know where this is going, basically. Another thing is Burn Over. Game Extender, Protector, you can protect your Blazer Frill. So what you can usually do, right, if let's say you have no defensive cards and you know you're going to lose going onto your opponent's turn and you have Burn Over in your hand, right? Let's say you got a Zeta, Inder and this, right? So what you'll do is just use your Inder. You can either discard a card, charge 2, draw 2 to tutor for a defensive card. So you have to burn your Burn Over. If you don't find into a defensive card, what you'll do is just Burn Over. The reason for this, right, ideally is because you want to bounce back the Inder to your hand. So during your next turn, you can actually hopefully draw into Super Warrior. So you can go for the Inder play and fish out for more draw engines to farm out of your 0 card hand with Burn Over. So this is actually very important. Yep. And Burn Over ensures your Zeta stay on field. So yep. So moving on to the spells. For the future, check top 4. Add as many Super Warrior to hand, the rest to gauge. Super important to filter out your Zeta. Cannot emphasize enough. Next card, Advantage Engine, Reject Flash. So your Reject Flash is basically charge 2, then call 1 card from your hand, and then draw 2 if you call a card. So after you charge 2, call Inder, draw 2, Inder effect, discard, charge 2, draw 2. So freaking insane. Another thing is this is a counter, so obviously you can chain it to your opponent's skill. So usually you can just test the water. Imagine you got nothing, you just attack your opponent, attack finish, or you're attacking halfway, your opponent is doing something. They want to cast a counter spell to block you. Just use your Reject Flash to chain it to ensure that the charge 2 or draw 2 of this card goes off. Very important for your Advantage Engine to farm out your different cards. That's why Super Warrior has the most amazing draw engine in the game. So moving on, more draw spells as usual. 2 draw extra. So engage, draw 2. If you are transformed into 2 monsters, gain 2, shoot 2. Super strong, 1 gauge, broken. The O2 draw, pay 1 gauge, draw 2. Not as amazing, obviously. So another thing to add to the consistency is the Finish Road. So Finish Road can only be used on your turn. Pay 1 gauge, add a size 2 and above Super Warrior to your hand. So as you can see, you have so many cards to keep searching for your Zeta. So you can just, pay 1 gauge as Zeta. Zeta is 2 gauge. So just nice 3 gauge, you can call Zeta down. And the other effect is call a size 2 or below Super Warrior from a drop zone without paying the call cost. Any of these, yeah. 3 Blissful Sun. Using your turn, charge 2, add any card to your hand. Filter for your Lost Soul, filter for anything, yeah. Okay, so moving on would be 4 Body Block. Okay, yep. Super strong. And 2 Lost Soul. As you can see, this deck doesn't run any Graces. But if you would like to run Grace, what I would do is take out the 2 draw, take out 1 Reject Flash, and take out 2 of this. So as you can see, you can just take out interchangeable. Yeah. So ideally, right, the ideal list that you would like to run is basically this 4 Grace, 4 by block. This is probably the most ideal list, most optimal list that you can probably run. Okay, so moving on, right? We'll be, as usual, doing test play hands. 3 test play hands to be exact, of how the deck functions. Okay. So previously I showed you two lists. One list is without grace and one's with grace. The without grace is if you can't find graces, because the graces were all short printed and it's very hard to find the supply because it came out in a COVID era with the coronavirus and the pandemic and everything that's going on. Okay, so let's look at the first hand. Okay, so you can see no Zeta, so this is quite challenging. So first off, draw, charge away the jackknife. Remember we put it because you want to burn it off later. Okay, so going on, final phase, check the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, in this scenario, probably break, probably lose. Okay, this is what happens about 15 to 20% of the time. Quite unfortunate, actually. Yeah. Okay, so let's not count that as a test play hand, okay? Yeah. Okay. So now let's do another one. Draw. The hand looks rather okay. Take away the finish road because you don't need it. Draw Bonova, good. Okay, so final phase, first off, what you want to do is the future. Top 4, add 1, put the rest. Remember the lost word is here, so you do not pay it off, so you can use your Blissful Sun to take it back. So what you would like to do now is, since you have a lot of gauge, what you can do is either play the Guy Grinder down from hand, or you can finish road to add Zeta. So what I'll do instead is actually go for the Guy Grinder play. Add Guy Grinder to hand. Okay. So now in this situation, it's ready to finish road. Search for the Zeta. Playing 2 gauge, good Zeta. Okay, see, one lost word is gone, so the last lost word is over here. Do not want to pay it off. Zeta skill. Call the Inder, discard 1 Super Warrior, charge 2, draw 2. So as you can see, you got 3 gem clones, which is actually quite amazing. Quite crazy actually. So we will just go attack and turn, bounce back to hand. So currently, as you can see, you may think that with this it's actually you're in quite a predicament because you can't use your interplay next turn or whatever. So to go around that, right, what you can do is call the gem clone on your bonus turn. 2 gauge. Unfortunately, you only got 1 Guy Grinder. And if you want, you can put the Inder inside to activate the Inder skill. But what you can do is actually gamble that the top 5 you get a Guy Grinder or Zeta to discard for your Inder. So if you're feeling a bit more risky, yeah, okay, let's go for this. Activate the Guy Grinder skill first. 5, find the Zeta. Inder skill, discard, charge 2, draw 2. So you can see, yeah. Oh, draw my last gem clone. So yeah, okay, oversized. Let's say they clear this, okay. Look at your defensive cards. Go into your turn, draw. Yeah, you can see where this is going. So just charge away, draw. Final phase, just draw 2. Gem clone. Inder, Grinder. Zeta if you want, triple attack anyway. Inder skill, discard, charge 2, draw 2. Guy Grinder, check top 5, nothing. Oh, Zeta. Blissful Sun, charge 2, take back the last word. Doesn't matter where else. I think maybe you can check and see what other stuff there are. Okay. See, you got so much to do in your hand. Attack, 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 attack. Okay, let's say since you Blissful Sun, right, you will know what's in your gauge, so you can just like pay off the cards. Yep. And then now you got Lost World, you defensive, farm with your Lost World, you already pretty much win on the following turn. It may not look like you're doing much or you're killing your opponent, but actually if you were to play it optimally, you will be able to usually OTK your opponents in one turn or farm their lost war. Okay, so this hand looks okay. Draw. Still looks okay. So charge away the Rampage Sonic. Draw. Final phase. The future. Top 4. Add these two. Call Gyrander skill. Check top 4. Okay, so this is a bit picky. Yep, okay, so this is actually a break. So in this scenario, right, as you can see, you just completely bricked. So in this scenario, sometimes you would actually want to keep the Rampage Sonic because Rampage Sonic is 2 gauge to equip. And when you equip, you can do your reject flash plays and do your other plays. Yeah, I'm actually breaking quite a bit today. Been praying to the wrong people, apparently. Okay, so let's look at the final test hand. Okay, draw. Charge away the 2 draw because I got 1 in hand. The future. Finally got something. Lost World is here. Okay, 2 equip. Gyrander skill, top 5, nothing, unfortunately. Can either just discard this for fun, just a charge and draw. Okay, sure, no issue. Okay, now you can just activate the 2 draw for fun. So you can see I paid off our ender, okay, that's good. Pay on gauge. Call back the ender. Ender skill, discard. Charge 2. Draw 2. Draw an ender, that's good. Okay, opponent's turn. Play this from hand, discard this. Charge 2. Draw 2. Increase, protect yourself. Then after that, if you're gonna die, these 2, let's say it doesn't die. 2 gauge. Put Zeta. Use a few Zeta. Interview? Wow. Cast a Grace protected. Zeta. Okay. Cleared. Lost War. Bounce back to hand. Your turn, draw Lost War. Graceful, this. Yep. Pretty much everything. It's quite strong. So that's it about that profile. Thank you so much. And bye.